events you go to in LA are not like that. They're very ego. You got to be somebody. You got to lick this person's balls, flop off. You know, none of that shit.
This door
and then wear a helmet and it's a lot of bullshit. You know, wear a costume, like none of that shit. Okay.
So welcome to Why Not Us. I am excited to have you guys here.
Thank you for having us.
It's been a long time coming.
Wait, we're here.
But we're here.
Let's pause. Let's get a moment. Okay.
That's the best part about it. So talk to me. What is LA Airheads?
It's us.
We are LA.
Ta-da!
Airheads.
You see?
LA Airheads was something we came together because we wanted to make it almost like we all have strengths in our group, you know, and we all do different things in our group that make us, you know, work really well together. And so originally when Bree came to me with the idea, I was sitting on the couch watching like basketball or something. Bree's like, yo, I think we should do an event, you know, and then I was like, all right, and I would never be down. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Okay, you know, and so from there we're like, all right, well, what do we call ourselves, you know? And we're like, well, we're Airheads, you know. And then I was like, oh, like the candy, yeah, it's good, I like that. We started running
The pops, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, that just really explains like what we're about. We're huge fans of Air Maxes.
And then Just Maxin just became right after that, or?
No, well, you know, Bree had this idea of like having a ceremony of souls, like bringing a lot of people that had the same likes. And, you know, I've known Bree and Kevin for, I don't know, fucking 4 or 5 years already. And I met them just through events, sneaker events and shit. And, you know, Bree had the idea like, yo, I want to put this event together. And we did it. You know, we ended up like, yo, let's put this thing together. Let's call ourselves the Airheads because we love Air Maxes, Nike Air. So it just kind of clicked, you know, and we wanted an event. And we just keep maxing, you know, no matter what day it is.
Max.
Air Max Day every day, basically.
It's Air Max every day, you know. Don't get me wrong, we still rock other ties. We rock Reeboks, Adidas, Nikes, but our love is like for the air, you know, this little air unit thing right here.
That's dope. And for you guys growing up in LA, what was that like? What was the biggest influence when it came not just to the sneakers, but also to streetwear and music? Because I feel all three tie together heavily, you know?
Hip hop for me. Everything for me is influenced, and it started with hip hop music. The first rap group I used to listen to was Run DMC, and from that point on, that was just my influence. So whatever I seen MCs wear in the music videos, that's how I wanted to dress.
So I just remember seeing my brother rocking his Adidas breakout because he was breaking at that point. I remember my sister rocking her Nikes as a kid, and I remember my house was like kind of the central for all her different friends. So they would always come through, and I remember this one guy named Michael. I'm never gonna forget this guy. This guy was named Michael. He wore some Jordans, and this guy used to do like this crazy backflip. He would run and do this crazy backflip. But he was always fresh. I mean, like super fresh. And like, that's the dude I kind of like model myself. Like, I want to be like that cat. But it was like the streets, hip hop, music, things that was happening in the 80s. It's just in the 80s, everything was kind of creating, you know, like streetwear was kind of starting to hit the public eye. It was becoming more mainstream. And right now, this is what I always say. Like, I think sneakers are at that point where it's becoming very mainstream, and it's getting and I like to like compare it to hip hop, you know, like it was at the golden ages when we were all like just looking at them at East Bays and shit like that, you know. But now it's becoming very marketable. You see it everywhere. You see them in fucking McDonald's commercials now, you know.
It's so great. And seeing like, you guys notice there's books around, and I feel sometimes people don't appreciate these things to actually learn and be knowledgeable and learn the history of where stuff came from. I think that's so important. And you see a lot of people that have profited off of sneakers, but they're not making sneakers, they're making other things. Such as like, Torigami. I think these are dope. And I was able to purchase these at your event, Just Maxin. Awesome. Some of the art pieces that you see around and stuff like this, like,
yeah.
This is so cool.
Hey,
to
that
me.
means a lot to us. Like, when I look at that book now, it reminds me of our very first event. Like, that's the
and see,
attachment
I was able
have.
to get. So I was able to get this.
Shout out to Bree for hooking us up for that. He's definitely an airhead to the heart.
Yeah, and Jovi.
And LA all day.
Yeah,
and then the fact that it came with a coloring book.
Yeah, awesome.
So you could use your own creativity and create something, which I think is so, unique as well.
And it hived over there for like 30 years. They got shops just full.
And one thing I've noticed too is the storytelling. Like, you could tell it's a big difference than from here. And I've noticed that here, and not just LA, but just in the US as well, like, storytelling has kind of like not been so popular in certain things where it's just like, oh, here's a pair of sneakers and that's it. Like, there's no, love or passion or something towards it to tie it to. Do you feel that storytelling has been being missed in streetwear nowadays, or sneakers as well?
I feel like it had been overlooked for a minute, but I think that, a while ago it wasn't, because there was a story behind a lot of sneakers, but I think there was a period where there wasn't as much limelight, but I feel like now I hear a lot more people talking about storytelling and, amongst us, and then I see what other brands are doing and they're listening, so you see more stories like what you're talking about with K-Swiss and what was it, Clueless?
The movie.
Yeah, there's a story behind that, I'm sure, like, I don't know what it is, but you probably know more about that. So I think maybe they're leaning more towards that because I know they're listening.
There's a big tug right now. You got the folks that really care about the whole story behind the sneakers, and that tends to be just an older generation, like unfortunately we are, And then you got the younger generations who sees the stories and sees the dollar attached to that story. And if the story is popping enough and hype enough, they're going to run and get in front of it. And us, we're working, you know what I mean? So if we don't have like a connection, if we don't have people that understand that we're just collectors, it's going to be very difficult for us to get a sneaker. Like, if you guys would know the shit that I have to do to get sneakers, it makes it seem like it's easy for me to get sneakers, but it's not,
For all of us, a lot of people think that we just, Nike sends it to us, or we get stuff for free, or we have the hookup at a store, and it's like, no, like, we have to leave work sometimes on our lunch break to go get the raffle ticket, to go, and do this. But it's funny that you say that, because you were talking about this on your IG the other day, where usually it's just about spreading that positivity and just, helping each other out, that sometimes the universe just rewards you back.
I think if I'm talking about generations, like recently how I've been feeling is I'm kind of over criticizing. I used to do a lot of that, out of anger, like, what the fuck is wrong with you, blah, 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 and then what gets reciprocated that way? Then they say, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then there's a divide, and lately I've been kind of trying to see it from, okay, instead of trying to so much to criticize, why not try to understand? And like, these kids, they may get a D in school, but they got 60 G's in the bank. Like, is there something wrong with that? From their perspective, I understand what they're doing. They're making themselves some money. They're learning skills at a really young age that I wished I would have learned. Marketing, sales,
sure.
like, and networking and all these things that, it takes away from us. But is me criticizing going to change? No, I'm going to sound like an old asshole.
And it's funny that you say that, because like, for me growing up, like, I wasn't selling sneakers, but I was selling candy on the train. I used to go to Union Station and go sell candy, and that was because I wanted to go buy.
Oh, that was hustle, bro.
But that was just me trying to buy clothing, because my parents couldn't afford it.
That was hustle.
That was me, and growing up for me, it was about wearing Pro Clubs with some G-Unit shorts and some Air Force Ones, or a Shaka. It was a Pro Club or a Shaka, and that's the way it was for me. Like, that's just the way I grew up.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is about the Pro Club and the Shakas, is that they had different colors, so you could match it with the Air Force Ones. You had like a blue shirt, you could rock something, So it was dope. And my way to make money was selling candy.
And imagine if you would have had something else other than something you can mark up for $1.50.
Man.
They're getting things they can mark up for $150.
Sometimes even $1,000.
I just chalk it
man.
up as it's all part of the game.
Yeah.
It's all part of the
I
game.
give props to the youngsters. I would be doing the same thing if that was my shit, you know.
But anytime people can attach a dollar amount to something, it's gonna change.
Right, that's what I'm. Yeah.
Bottom line.
You
And
you
it's
add
just a
money
part
to
of the game.
something, it's gonna bring. That's why we don't have resellers, or we don't have sneaker sales, because that brings a different aspect to an event.
Yeah.
It brings a different person. The person's not there to interact. They see dollar signs, so they're not there to chill like we are. They're there to do business, and you could do business. That's great,
Yeah.
you know.
But this is not a business.
But it's
spot.
not a business. Nah.
It's a kickback. It's like a family. It's a
Yeah,
chill type
definitely.
Of thing. I
And
wanna
so the
keep that
relationship's
vibe.
built that way. Sometimes, I hate to say it, they're not always genuine. They have a motive behind it. They want to know you because you own a shop, or because you have 200,000 followers and they want to blah, 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 whatever, you know. And so the genuine relationship thing is out the window, you know.
And you see that a lot nowadays, especially with social media, where people tend to do that, and it's hard to trust. I think trust is a big problem, you know, because you don't know what people's intentions are.
Trust.
You know.
At all.
I always give people the benefit of the doubt.
I don't.
You know, and that's just because for me it's just like that's just the way I was raised.
Are you
I
sure?
guess.
No, I don't. I don't play those type of games.
Like for me, it's just I always try to see the positive side. You know,
Yeah, I don't. I look at the negative first, and then I work backwards.
and that's fine. That's fine too.
As long as you end up in the same place, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because she'll because I've known her for a while, she'll do that, but then the good people work their way in.
Exactly.
And for
Yeah.
me, I'm like you though, is I'm a pretty good judge of characters. So I smell bullshit, I'll know within 10 minutes you're full of shit.
And the thing is, that's the wonderful part about having a crew and like a team, is because like where you lack, they pick up, and where they lack, you pick up. You know, it's like the characteristics that I lack in myself, I seek out in my friends. So that type of person that, you know, he is, I'm not, it works out wonderful because our relationship, and the person that he is that I'm not, you know, that's what's dope about having a team and a family, is because it's like where you lack, they fill in that space.
And really, my favorite thing is that it just comes back to being organic. Like, this shit was not planned. We were just like, we want to do an event, we want to call ourselves this, and here's a logo, and here's an idea, and then everything else, I don't know, but let's just do this.
And I think that's why people love it and respect it, is because we're just us. Like, I'm the same person I was. There's no extra. They're who they are. We bring that to the table, and people know it's like genuinely like who we are. Like, we give you ourselves the same all the time. And I really hate like how Instagram puts people at this whole level shit. Like, you have this, so it makes you, I don't give a shit about any of that, because at the end of the day, once you pass those doors and you come into Just Maxin, you are family. We're the same group of people. So all that ego shit. And you know, a lot of sneaker events you go to in LA are not like that. They're very ego. You got to beat somebody. You got to lick this person's balls, flop up.
You got to go
shit.
through this door and checklist, and then this other checklist.
And then wear a helmet.
By the time you get
Yeah,
there,
it's a lot of bullshit. You know, wear a costume, like none of that shit.
But you know what? At this point, you know, like there's an avenue for everything in the sneaker game now. Like, if there's a bunch of kids that are into hype and that's all they follow, you know, and these events are targeted for those kids, you know what I mean? Like, Just Maxin it's targeted for the people that are the people,
yeah,
you know?
And you see that when you go to the event.
And the good thing about it is just, look at us. It's the diversity that we also have. Well, I'm you know, she's African-American black, he's white, I'm Hispanic, but we're all from LA.
I'm Caucasian,
you know?
sir.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I'm biracial.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, I don't even know.
Triracial.
Well, remember what did you call me last time? Remember?
Oh,
I was,
God, dude, it was like 4
Salvadorian Porter. What was
Yeah.
I forgot, bro.
I have something here that I want Kevin to open, because I remember you talking about you love opening.
Is it a Trojan?
No.
Oh.
So I want you to open that and tell me let me see how you know, when you get a fresh pair of kicks, like.
Well, first I would read, when it says this is cool because it makes it personal. When Gabby wrote this, And it says, I hope when you wear these sneakers, it feels like a little piece of New York with you. And remember to walk with love in all your heart for all people. And she put all really big. I sat and I read this, and I thought that was really important that she included this in there, because this is from the heart. Like, there was a lot of heart into this for me. And I mean, getting into the pair, like, I mean, I could tell you what the story is behind this, because I thought it was a cool story, you know, like she wanted to incorporate all the different cultures and all the different, you know, colors of people that are in New York. So you could see, I'm like the whitest of the white right there. That white. Yeah, the invisible. That one's me. That one's me.
He's the midso. He's the midso. That's him right
my
there.
heart beating right now.
He's a clear bottom.
And you know, and also from the cement from the New York streets, in the, you know, the mud guard, and the New York City, and then her the latitude and longitude of where she's from, and like, this is bitchin', you know, like.
I feel she did an amazing job, and not just being a woman, but also being Latina. For me, that was huge.
Oh, yeah, that was huge.
Like, to me,
But
like,
her being a woman was even huger. Let me just tell you that.
and I wanted to talk about that, and you know, you could grab and bring.
It's very.
I want you to.
Very big deal for women.
Because
Very big deal
I
for
feel
women.
it empowers women, and I feel like you're outspoken when it comes to that.
Yeah,
heavily.
it's a big deal to me.
And,
It's a big deal to me.
and that's what I love about it, though, because I think
It's a big deal.
now you're starting to see brands appreciate women's look
They
on
have to.
sneakers.
They have
and not
to.
just on sneakers, but also in streetwear.
They
I
have
think
to.
Well,
it's
shit,
important.
dude, you guys,
We
they're
have
like
the
the biggest
most.
consumers
We have the most
also as
buying
well.
power.
Yes.
We
Yeah,
have the
dude.
most buying power. So number one, it's a smart business move, and just the fact that she was a woman and she's a minority, it just made it even more special. It made the shoe really touching, inspiring, all those things you want to feel when you look at a shoe. She definitely encompassed, you know, she got it all down pat in this. I definitely think she did an amazing job, and the story behind it, I think that really just made the shoe feel even more personal for everyone, because no matter what your story is, you can relate. You know, you can relate. No, if you're from New York, LA, poor, rich, black, white, whatever, you can relate. And I think that.
And when she put Queen Leo, it's
Yeah,
just
that
like,
was
it was like
amazing.
the stamp. Like,
Yeah, it
all
was the
right,
icing on the
you
cake.
did it. You did it.
And they're a beautiful shoe. I mean, besides the story and all that other shit,
Yeah.
I mean, they're just fly.
Yeah,
they're beautiful. They're different. There's nothing like this I've seen. You know, I love the colors. They pop. It's just a beautiful shoe.
What I don't understand is, how did that sit?
Yeah.
Like, how does, and it's weird because it's just what everybody, you know, people. What went out? Those the 97s, those crazy blue ones.
Well, I will say this. I do believe that her shoe was the one that was manufactured the most out of the entire pack.
Oh, and because for
Number
the
one.
U.S., right? Yeah.
Number one, I think her shoe was manufactured. And her shoe was available in places no other shoe was available. For instance, her shoe was available at Nordstrom's. No other.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. No
Oh, that's
other
pretty
pair
cool.
from the pack is available at Nordstrom's. This shoe is also available at Foot Locker, Foot Action. If you could go into the mall,
okay.
this shoe is in every mall.
Because it was like that in probably every country. Every country, like if you saw the Tokyos, I bet you in
And-
Japan they had it the same way.
I
There.
think hers was a little bit different because her story, no one had a story like her storyline. Her storyline was, I think, the biggest
Yeah.
out of all the stories. And
I agree.
I think
yeah.
because we're from here and we can relate.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the stories for each designer was probably big in their culture
Right.
and where they're from. So it's like a mutual feeling for each sneaker.
But even-
and that's what's dope. Like,
I would like to
But
hear.
even on the app and stuff, no one had their story displayed like hers. I
No.
think hers was the biggest everywhere. I think because the bottom line is her story is relatable worldwide.
Right, yes. And like I said, like I always say it, why not?
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
Why not?
Yo, man, I mean, like from Just Maxin, we do it all, man. Like me and Kevin, we go get kegs, we set up the tables, we set up the DJ system,
are Just Maxin, like,
we're
serious.
Yeah.
we're cleaning up the toilets,
We're
like,
sweating
Yeah.
the whole
and
night.
we're doing the whole nine just to make it like pleasurable, like enjoyable for everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we set up. We put everything on the walls.
That shit's fun.
We
though.
didn't do it alone though. We
And-
had help.
And that's
yeah,
the
dude.
best part, you know, and you guys were at the Sneak Peek LA, right? And that hope, when you walked in and you saw all the sneakers, that was dope, like introduction. And then you see the neon with the Just Maxin. And
was
see that
awesome.
was just
Yeah.
like, yo, because I got excited when I saw it. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then you walk through the little hallway, and then you have the art, and then you hear like music in the back, and you're like, okay, well, what's back there?
Like how several people have been in it. We've only been doing this how welcoming and appreciative everyone has been, and how people have really connected
And
us
excited.
to a lot of stuff. Yes.
And people are excited.
I think it's important, like when you surround yourself around good people, great things happen.
I
Yeah.
agree.
And
Or just be a good person yourself,
Yeah.
and then good things will.
Well, because you attract it naturally.
I think so
Definitely.
too. When people know you're real, and whatever that is, and that's my whole thing. People think you have to be like a goody goody or just whoever you are. People will respect that because they know that that's who you are.
with that being said, I have a gift for you guys.
We like gifts.
And this is George.
Hi, George.
Hi, George.
And this is something that I was able to make that I hope you guys. This is Kevin's.
Ooh.
Look at that.
Awesome.
And then this is
My teeth look so much better here.
Awesome.
Look at these pearly whites.
So-
So put them together like this. Look,
you
they're
see, this is
cute.
mine. So the reason why I didn't color is because I want you guys to color it in your own way with the wood.
I
You
love
could
it.
use spray cans.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thank you
And
so much.
create it in your own way. So that's my appreciation for you
Sick.
guys
Thank you.
coming
We
on
love
White
it.
Noise. And shout out to
Cisco.
Shout out Cisco.
Yo, Cisco.
Thank you,
Yo,
brother.
seriously.
Yo.
Look, I rock.
Look at the
Look at this shit, dude. Hey, man. I was supposed to rock this shirt for Just Maxin, but it didn't get here on time. I was so bummed, but that was like the surprise, you know?
Right,
Like,
right. We love them. Thank you very much.
Nah,
That's dope.
Thank you for having us.
And that's the part that that I love, that when I started Why Not Us, it's just the amount of people that are so supportive. So I just want to say thank you guys.
Thank you.
man, for
Thank
sitting
you.
down and
Thank you.
everything.
Thank you for supporting us too. We appreciate it.
Last question. Would we get an Air Max LA Airheads?
Of course.
I mean, yeah,
It will happen.
that'd be
It
awesome.
will, it will
Yeah.
happen.
If we could design something together, I would never want to do it individually.
Which
I'd
one
like
would y'all
to.
do?
what are you
though?
talking about?
We're not
What are you
talking
talking about?
already coming out
It's
next year,
already
right?
on the work, dude. Yo, that
We're
shit.
not
Yo,
saying, but-
all I gotta say,
Or a pack.
be prepared, because that shit's in the works already. Y'all don't even know. We've already been talking
Don't be
about
telling
it.
nobody, bro.
Basically, stay tuned.
Let's just,
Like tuned air.
we'll just be quiet. Silence. We out.
Hey.